Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms, a podcast where the mystical meets the everyday. Join Amanda Nova and Beth Renov each week as we dive into the profound journey of awakening, sharing our experiences, insights, and the lessons that guide us toward our divine purpose. Together, we awaken and guide our souls and others, exploring the magic of living in the 3D while staying connected to the higher realms, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the growth. You've been guided here for a reason. Trust in the journey and let the unfolding begin.
Hello and welcome back to Conversations in Between the Realms. I'm Amanda Nova and I am here with the lovely Beth Renov. And today the sun is shining, but we're not feeling super shiny and bright. So we are trying to keep the faith. We are trying to really trust, and we're kind of trying to bring each other up today. So we want to talk a little bit about faith and what you guys might be experiencing and what we know a lot of people in the collective are experiencing. And we want to just all rise together. So how are you doing, Beth?
Clearly not well. I hate coming on here and being like, oh, I'm in a bad mood. But I just said, like, I feel like I'm in the season of the bitch and I don't feel like myself. I'm really moody. I'm really just like losing faith in like the word I said to my therapist is like, it just feels like you feel really helpless. And that is like exactly it. And I feel like I've attacked everything I wanted in life with like the idea like you're gonna have it, right? And there was this like innate surrender that it didn't give me anxiety or make me upset. And that's not true. But just like looking back, it didn't like overly, but like being in it is very different. Where you're just like, is this even gonna happen? Are all these things gonna align and like work out? And I know I can't control how or when, but I'm like really in it for the first time, feeling like I don't know that these things are going to happen and I don't know what to do. And like I like was laying there this morning, I'm like, you just have to surrender and be like, I'm going to let like the universe take the lead and like let go of the ropes, and just like if it happens, it happens. I have to have faith that it'll happen. But, it's really hard to like keep that faith.
Right. Yeah. And I find that, we've said this before too, of like that feeling of that helplessness, that hopelessness of like, there's nothing I can do to make this happen any more than I've already done, right? Like there's nothing more that I could possibly do. So all I can do is surrender it at this point. But there is that feeling of, okay, it might not happen, right? And I feel like that's the point where we find the acceptance of, will I be okay if this doesn't happen? And on the other side of that is the miracle. And that's like what I've found to be true. It's like when you let that go and you go to the place where you're like, okay, I want this so deeply, so bad, I can feel it. And you say, okay, what if this doesn't happen? And then you feel, okay, I will be absolutely crushed. I will be devastated, but I will pick myself up like I've done with everything else. And this is what my life will look like, or this is what will happen. And have that acceptance of like, if it doesn't happen, I will still be okay. Is that kind of like that surrender of like letting it go and be like, if this is meant to happen, then the universe is going to take care of it and it's going to happen. And that's a really hard place to get to. When Rob and I were trying to get pregnant, it took me 1.5 years to get to that place, and we had that conversation because I was so at my wit's end of like I got to the point where I was like, holy shit, like this might actually not happen. Like I might not actually get pregnant. And like, I just had to be like, okay, well, if it doesn't happen, am I going to be okay? What are we going to be okay? Or can we do this just the two of us? Like those are the things. And it's the same thing with careers and everything else. It's like, okay, well, what does it look like on the other side of that? It's not giving up. It's just like being okay and with acceptance. So that's like the surrender and acceptance of like, if you have something better, then show it to me. Or am I getting this?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And it's almost like I feel like I have to grieve the life I thought I would have.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's just like, is that the same thing as like worrying so that you could control like like if it doesn't, like if the thing doesn't happen, if I worried about it, then it won't be as bad. Like if I grieve it, will it then not be as bad? It'll still be bad, you know? So it's like such a conflicting feeling, and there is grief. And, you know, I think it's also like the present moment, there's so much crap. There's nothing like stable and grounding to latch onto. The world's in a freaking tailspin.
Yeah.
Almost everybody I know is going through like the worst thing imaginable.
Right.
You know, like I had a friend lose her brother yesterday. Another friend, not yesterday. I'm sorry. Like last week or 2 weeks ago.
How old was he?
33. My other friend's brother got diagnosed with horrible cancer, like terminal cancer. You know, it's just like, it doesn't feel like there's anything positive, you know? And it's like, it's hard to feel good in this environment. It's like, how do you keep that faith with anything when it just feels like we're in a downward spiral?
Right. It's interesting that you said that, because I was having this thought last night and I was thinking about just, I don't know if it was like channeling on this or doing something on this, but I've been realizing that every time I talk to somebody, I'm hearing about somebody that's sick. Everybody is like, oh, my father, my sister, like me, like everybody is dealing with something. Or somebody's having miscarriages, somebody can't get pregnant. Like there are all these issues. Everybody is sick. And I was like, I want to kind of like go a level deeper into like, why is this going on? Like this is not normal. Like, and we're all just like, oh, it's so normal. Like everybody gets sick and we should all feel like shit. Like everybody has, all of a sudden everyone has cancer. Like,
and young people.
And like people, I just heard about somebody who was super young, got died like in their 30s, who has kids, got diagnosed with cancer. And I'm like, why is this happening? And I intuitively, like what comes to me is the environments in which we're living in, like beyond the toxic, beyond the chemicals, it's the stress.
It's the stress. Yeah.
It's the stress. It's living in this world of negativity, like of this energy that we're constantly fed.
Right. And it's like, and like social media, it just is in, what's the word? Exacerbating it, you know? And I feel like I've never been more down a spiral on that too, which I know I can do and like pull back a little bit. I'm, in full disclosure, I'm getting my period. So like, I know I'm in like the doom and gloom right now, but, you know, I think it's really hard to like have any sort of hope and feel like you can help in any way, feel like, let me just put on a smile today and live my life. It just feels almost like, I'm like, but how do you like walk out the door and like only think about yourself? But I think that is actually what you have to do. I'm so jealous of people who can do that.
Right. Well, you have to focus on yourself so that you can help others, so that they can focus on themselves, right? It's a chain. And so that's the whole thing. And as I'm like thinking about it too, I'm thinking about how like what we're consuming, right? So if like we're thinking about like the news, right? Like in terms of food, right? I'm thinking like, okay, those are like chain restaurants, and like our social media is like fast food, right? So like it's so easy for us to just access all this crap all the time. Like we're just
my God.
I just need to get a quick sandwich.
I've replaced my McDonald's addiction with freaking Instagram.
Yeah. But doesn't that make sense when you think about it? Like it's
that's
like,
such a great analogy.
And it's like that's what people are doing, and they're constantly getting fed that. And it's like it's feeding these things. And I've been telling you recently, like I cannot go. I have such an aversion to social media right now. Like it is, and not in a righteous way, like not in any, I'm not even in a spiritual way where I'm like, I just have no desire to go on right now. I just would rather be reading my book. That's really how I feel. And like, I'm not posting really, and then I have guilt. Like, I'm like, well, I should be doing, you kind of like then
No.
start to beat yourself up. But I just don't care to know everybody's business. Like, why are we, it's just too much. It's too much.
Right. And like for me, like that's the only way I will learn certain things, like especially being Jewish right now with anti-Semitism. Like that is where I get my information because mainstream media isn't posting it. Like not posting. Now I like literally speak in terms of, social media, but they don't report on it. So that is where, but it feels like an addiction too, is like I'm addicted to it. I feel like they need to know. And it's a trauma response, and I think that we're all in this collective trauma response of like needing to know more, needing to feel connected to that anger. This isn't the healthiest way to be connected to it.
Right. Yeah, it's like I need to get that little news snack. I need to get that little like hit of, it's either that hit of dopamine or it's that like fight or flight. It's the hit of cortisol.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me that like, more and more people have been coming to me recently with hormone issues. All of them have cortisol issues. Why? Because everybody is in fight or flight. Why? Because of the social media and fast food news that's coming in, because we are constantly running for our lives. Constantly, all of us, like everybody is in this like survival mode, or what I like to call it as like the as soon as I get through mode. It's like, okay, well, I'll just do these bad habits until I get through this hard time. But then that hard time is actually your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, well, I'll just take this, I'll just eat like bad because I have like a really hard time at work and I'm stressed out, and I'll just do that now. And it's okay because it'll only be like a month, but then it becomes your habits for like it's your life.
Right.
It's not just a short period of time.
Yeah. No, and you can't live for when I get there. You have to take things at face value. This happens a lot in relationships. People are like, well, I can change this person. It's okay for now. It's like, no, you have to say, am I okay with living like this for the rest of my life?
Right.
And the same has to apply to this, is like, you can do this right now. Yes, there are things. As a therapist, I would say, okay, it's good that your body was able to recognize something that helps you through. But there comes a point where that hurts you more than it harms you. And at this point, it's hurting more than it's harming more than it's helping.
Right. Well, it becomes a habit. It's like that whole thing of like 30 days and then it becomes a habit. It becomes ingrained in your
I think
life.
it's 21, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucked. Well, that makes a lot of sense, because then you find yourself in these habits, and then 6 months go by, a year goes by, and you don't understand what happened. And it's like, it's not just getting through.
It is fucked and it isn't, because on the flip side of that, it only takes 21 days to form another healthier habit. This is so silly, but I was like, I need to like have this nighttime routine. Like I wasn't taking care of my teeth well, and I was like, I have to do it. And I did it, and it's just like, now I can't not do it, and it made such a difference. Like, and your teeth really, like, it seems silly, but they are literally connected to every organ in the body. So it's just like a really easy way to take care of your full health,
Right.
So as much as it can be detrimental, and this is like the flip side of everything, and maybe this is how you have hope, is like, yeah, there's a downside, like Instagram and social media could be really harmful, but at the same time it could be really helpful, so maybe maybe it's that you need to look at dogs, maybe you need to look at the spiritual stuff, and that helps you and learn how to contain it, right? So maybe it's making the habit of, I only look at it for 15 minutes a day, or maybe I only look at it on the weekends, but the downside of having a habit be formed so quickly, like a bad habit, is that a positive habit can be formed so quickly as well.
Right. Yeah, I really like that. And I think the reason why people struggle so badly with breaking habits too. You know, like I don't know where I read this. It must have been maybe in like one of Joe Dispenza's, you know, books or something, but like it's like with making New Year's resolutions and like people setting these habits and why they don't keep them is because you're actually shifting yourself and shifting your mindset, because you almost have to step into like the type of person that would do this, right? So it's like if you're like, okay, well, I'm going to work out every morning, but you're not somebody that works out at all. And then you
Right.
do it for a week and then you stop. It's like, well, that's not really the type of person that you are, but can you maybe like add a day and then add a day and then like
Right.
start to become that type of person? Do you know what I mean? Like so many times people want to like instantly shift everything.
Well, they have unrealistic expectations of
Yeah.
themselves. And that's why I always say intentions versus expectations.
Right.
I'd like to be a person who works out more versus I have to work out every day. You
Right.
know, that's really unreasonable. And like half the people who go to therapy, that because they're overwhelmed by achieving something, it's like, yeah, well, you're trying to jump from the bottom of a mountain to the top. You have to take steps there. So how do we break that down into really easy, attainable goals, like
Right.
little goals, right?
Right.
You know, and I think it is mindset, you know, and we have to shift that. And that is really what's going to help me right now is like, how
Yeah.
can I shift out of this?
Yeah.
And I know hormones, I can't even speak today. Hormones are playing a huge part in this moment, right? I don't
Yeah.
feel this way all the time. And I hate that I come on here every time and I'm like, I don't feel that great or this is going on. It is the state of the world, but I can also do my part in seeing where things are actually good.
Right.
Or
And I
have
like,
hope.
yeah. And I like the idea too of like, what can I do right now? Like small steps. And I think, you know, kind of just swinging back to faith, all we can do and all we have control over is ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
when there are these larger things that we want, having a baby, buying a house, you know, which is also a crazy, you know, you're like, oh, where am I going to find it? Am I going to find it? You know, stuff like that. Careers, like all these larger things, right, that we want. It's understanding that all that we have control over is ourselves. We don't have any power other than that, right? So you kind of have to have faith that you have to surrender it and hand it over, because we don't have control over that anything else. That's what gives a lot of people anxiety, because they want to
Mm-hmm.
control everything and they want, you know, like I want it and I want to control it. And that's the fear, is like, oh my God, this might not happen. But like the trust and the faith is like, okay, I trust that it's going to happen anyway,
Yeah.
because you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And there are little things like when we talked about in one of our earlier episodes is like synchronicities. Those are what help like keep the faith and like realize that there is something bigger. There is something, those are like little positive experiences you can draw from. Like, this is silly, but I was so tired on Monday and I was walking Iggy, and everywhere here is a hill. So if you're going for a walk, you need to accept that you're going to have like this crazy walk home. Like to get home, you have to go up this giant hill. And I was at the bottom near the lake, like walking, and I just had this feeling of like, I'm about to cry. I can't get back up there. You know, like I need Lauren to come for me now. I'm not kidding. A second later, she drove by us, and I was like, I like flagged her down. She's like, I had this weird feeling like I'm just going to see if they're there and if I'll see them. You know, so
God,
it's
that's
like those
weird.
are really weird moments where I'm just like, okay, like there is something out there and bigger than us, and that things will work in my favor. And that's such a small thing, but there are other little things that happen like that. And you know, that's me keeping the faith. And this whole time in my down mood, I hear Losing My Religion by REM. And then in like positive moments, I hear Billy Joel like snapping in the background, keeping the faith.
I thought we were doing This Is the Season of the Bitch.
I know. I have like a whole, you know, like
playlist.
I have a whole playlist in my head. I have, what is it called? Like a soundtrack.
Yeah, soundtrack to your cycle.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I've been very music focused.
Well, that's very healing. Obviously.
It is actually. I was in this CEU continuing ed class. I saved all mine for the last minute. So this woman was asking, and I liked it. They brought like spirituality and energy into it, which I love that my field is doing now. She was like, what do you do after a session, and I was gonna write, I like disconnect my energy. I just felt like people were gonna judge me, so I was just like, I didn't. But some girls like, I rock out and have like a full out concert in my car after, and I was like, yes. I'm like, that's amazing. And then she was like, yeah, you have to figure out ways to like release energy and disconnect, and it's just like, that was another moment of faith. I was like, I never thought therapy would be talking about this stuff.
No, it's really cool. I used to have I probably still do on my Spotify, but I used to have different playlists for different moves. So I would have my like emotional one, I would have like my like anger one, like my like flowy, like seductive, like more kundalini one, and then I would put it on and I would do just like intuitive dancing, like singing with them. I haven't done that in a really long time because I just haven't had like the room to do it. I'm only allowed to, well, actually, I'm not allowed to sing at all. I was gonna say I'm only allowed to sing Disney, but I'm not allowed to sing at all.
I love that video of Aria. She's like, but I was singing.
Oh yeah, so I sent Beth a video of Aria's and I singing a song together from Disney, and I was like, here's my moment to like belt it, and she started yelling at me. She was like,
you're like, I want to sing too. She's like, no.
Nothing humbles you more than a toddler. Like, they will tell you, like, I mean, she says crazy things to me. I'm so humbled. Yesterday, she told me to have patience. I was like, oh, okay. Excuse me.
I bet she uses words correctly, too.
Yeah, she's like, you need to have patience with me. I'm like, yeah. I do.
There's no one more brutally honest than a toddler and your grandparents when they get older.
Yeah, so true. So true. Yeah, like I feel like that music is so healing in that way. And I think that's like a really good like thing you could do right now is like, what is there one thing I can do to help me get out of this mood that I can do or get, because having the faith is, keeping the faith is difficult. Another exercise that I used to do, it's more of a mind exercise, more of like a guided, but I used to do this like thing where I would imagine myself actually taking all of the things, like the thing that I was manifesting, right? Or like all of my troubles, whatever it was, and I would put it, let's say, like in a box, okay? And then I would actually imagine myself handing it over to whoever it was. It could be an archangel, could be a spirit guide. I used to do, when I was trying to get pregnant, I used to imagine Lakshmi, which is more of a Hindu goddess, and I used to like I would imagine her like on like a lily pad, and I would she would be sitting on it, and I would like hand it to her, and I would feel that release of my body of like, okay, this doesn't have to be mine. I can hand it over to someone. And it could be, you could be putting it into a river. It doesn't matter, but get it out of you and hand it to the universe so that you're not the one that's holding it and feeling responsible for carrying it out.
Yeah. So that's an exercise I do with my clients too, is container. So they like picture this container. It could be anything, like a trunk. It could be clear. It could be anything, but you have to be able to put a lock on it. And it has to be easily accessible so that they feel like they can go back to it if they want to. And then they picture themselves getting the container out, unlocking it, opening it, and then one by one putting the things in, and picturing the size, the shape, the texture, the weight, and putting it in, and then locking it and walking away. And it's such a powerful, I think anything visualization is so powerful, and being able to walk away from it.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I've been doing also calling on my ancestors. I don't know, I've been very called to them to support me. And it's just been literally their hands lifting me and holding me. And it's been a lot of women, so it's just a lot of that female energy and nurturing, caring, divine feminine. And whether it is them or not, that is I'm realizing all the ways that I am really connected to my spirituality and leaning on.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how you use the tools. Like, you don't have to be like meditating all the time. It's like calling in those little things. And what I think is interesting about that is also that changes your mindset as well, right? Because when we don't get those things that we want really bad, who do we blame? Ourselves. I'm a
Right.
failure. I can't make this work. I can't do
Mhm.
this. I am the queen of I'm a failure. I
Right.
failed at this, right? But if we're saying the only thing we can control is ourselves, right? And we have no control over that, then why are we blaming ourselves for these things not happening? So it switches the mindset of handing it over because it's not really our responsibility. And so
Mhm.
we have to kind of switch that of like, if it doesn't happen, it's not our fault. If it happens, amazing, right? But there's like kind of that piece of it. I think as women, we really do that, especially with things like fertility. We blame our bodies, we blame ourselves, we're
Mhm.
crazy on ourselves. And with anything, it's like, with a job, it's like, I wasn't smart enough, I'm not good enough, I don't fit. Like, it's just, and I think just women are especially nasty to themselves. I just think we are, because we carry so much responsibility and we take on so much, and we're so hard on ourselves because our expectations of ourselves and our performance is so high, especially our generation.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still, I don't know if that's carrying to the lower generations. I mean, we'll see.
I think, I think it's just different than our past generations because I think the women were because, there wasn't as much to do
Yeah.
if you couldn't get pregnant, and that was kind of like your whole responsibility, especially when they couldn't have jobs or
Hmm.
property or anything. Now it's just like we have the load of having a career,
Yeah.
also being fertile, also
Right.
like if there's technology, if it doesn't work, you're really to blame. What did I do to
Yeah.
allow my body to get to this place?
Yeah.
But what you're talking about is really amazing because it's A, self awareness, and B, it's like really reframing, which is everything that spirituality is being able to like notice in the moment that you are being nasty to yourself, that your self talk is horrible, and that's what's making you feel bad. It's not maybe the actual
Right.
situation. Yes, it's upsetting, but I'm making myself feel worse because I am being a bully to myself,
Right.
And if it just exists that this isn't in your control, then why is the blame? And it's because we need to make meaning, and that's how our nervous system
Right.
settles. But it's the catch
Mhm.
22 because your nervous system settles if it's meaning, but when it's you, then there's something to do about it,
Right. Right.
right? So it's like the
Yeah.
shame that exists, and you're putting it in isolation when you only blame yourself.
Right. And we use social media to validate those beliefs, right? We see somebody else who has what we want, the comparison comes in, forgetting always that it's not what we think, right? And so we look at that and then we're like, okay, this person has that. Why can't I? This person, and you start to then spiral. My biggest advice, we've talked about this before,
Right.
is clear those people out. Don't follow
Yeah.
them. Don't look at them. If it'll insult somebody, mute them.
Right. And, again, lean back to like searching for the positive. We are so wired to look for the negative because that's what keeps us safe. But what actually keeps us safe is having a positive, like regulated nervous system,
Yeah.
not toxic positivity, but being able to look at those examples of like when I really needed something, Lauren was right there. That has to be something, you know? And just looking at those moments where things did work out for you. What is going right in your
Hmm.
life?
Yeah.
And I can say, like, I remember last year I was in my pool in the summer looking around. I'm like, I have everything I could want. Why am I not in
Hmm.
that place anymore? It's because I'm only looking at what I don't have,
You're
right? And
looking
what
at
I
one thing. Yeah.
right. And I'm also like looking at the lack, not and forgetting about all that's good here.
Right. Right. Exactly. And I mean, listen, it's all of this is human. All
Right.
of this is so normal. I mean, it's a practice that has to be practiced every day. I mean, I talk to people about anxiety all the time. And, it's not like you just wake up one day as somebody who has anxiety and it's
Right.
gone.
Right.
It's like, no, every day you're battling intrusive thoughts. Every day you're battling it. The difference is that you maybe have tools you didn't have before. You have things to then reframe with that you didn't have before. Like those are the differences. Like it's not like you're going to wake up and like be a different person. I mean, sometimes it can feel like that when it goes on long enough, but like just setting the expectation of like everybody goes through this and it's hard, but like if you take those little tiny steps like you're saying, you can get there.
Right. And don't have an unrealistic expectation of what that looks like. It's not that you're going to be happy all the time, that you're going to be, never be bothered. Everybody has anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's on a spectrum. And it's when it's starting to affect your daily functioning that it becomes a problem. But that's your cue to be like, okay, like what can I do to pull back? How can I shift my mindset? Because I think that is the biggest thing that you can do. It's not always
Right.
tangible, right? It's not always
Right.
like working out or eating better. It's
Right.
going to a therapist. It's even if you go to a therapist, it's like, how can I change my mindset and be aware of my thoughts? And if I think something negative, is there something positive I can think about?
Right. Right.
What do I have instead of what don't I have? So
Right.
those are all the things you can do on your own. That's how you keep the faith and reconnect and don't feel like completely helpless and hopeless.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes total sense, and I think it's, listen, it's a work in progress,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all learning and we're all going through that. And I think, I say this every single episode, but like, if you need extra help, come to us and we will help you by giving you the resources and the support that you need to be able to do this. This is something, yes, that you do on your own in terms of like it's your journey. You need to, work
Mm-hmm.
on yourself, but that doesn't mean that you don't need to have support
Right.
during that. You don't need to be alone in the trenches, right? Like you can have
Right.
people that can help you through it.
Absolutely. And, that is something that also brings our mood up. We love helping people. That is what we are here to do. And maybe that's also why we're feeling a little bit down, is like we're not doing it as much. And not because of anything. I think we've both taken a step back a little bit recently because we've needed time for ourselves, but we're like ready to go. And I really want to incorporate doing more of what we do on here because I think we need to show that. And like we can talk, these
Mm-hmm.
are great tools for everybody, but I want you to see what we can actually do. Because yes, a lot of it is helping us change our mindset and shift things in the energy, but it looks really different in practice than what we talk about.
Yeah, and with that being said, so Beth and I do want to do a couple of episodes where we really show what we do. So we are looking for volunteers. It has to be somebody who hasn't worked with either one of us before. So
Yes.
I'm sorry to our current clients, but we want
Yes.
it to be fresh and,
I knew.
really be
Yeah.
able to show what it looks like a first time when we really don't know the person already. So if you are listening and you would like to volunteer and don't mind being on the podcast while we do it, let us know. Reach out to us on social media, and yeah, we would love to work on you that way. It'll be really fun.
Yes, it would be really fun. I think everybody would love listening or watching. It's really cool. So yeah, I think that's a good place for us to end this week and keep up the faith. This actually just made me like uplifted a lot more. So
Good.
thank you. Thank everybody for listening and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.